Okay, I think we're ready now. So, um, welcome everyone for today's council meeting, Thursday, September 21st, 2023, 6:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Mayor Elma Beltran,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabrina Rodriguez,
Present.
Councilmember Juanita Molina,
Present.
Councilmember Diego Garza,
Present.
Councilmember Catherine Solorio, Treasurer Michelle Lopez.
Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we have one item to add.
Yes, Mayor, that is a public hearing that we have noticed for to date. It is a CUP for the Prodigy Square Commercial Development. And this was noticed for a public hearing on this day. We simply want to have it added to the agenda so we can continue that to October 5th. It was not placed on the agenda simply by inadvertence. The item to be placed on the agenda was provided to the city, but it didn't get on there because the backup wasn't provided, but the backup wasn't provided because it wasn't yet available.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve? It's a public hearing, but it will be continued for the next meeting on October the 5th. And that is, Jeff, did you want to kind of clarify that, what it's about?
Yeah, real quickly, it's a proposed revision to the approved CUP at Manning and Academy. And it was noticed, according to state law, local ordinance, to appear on tonight's agenda. However, we were doing some air quality analysis and couldn't get that information in time to put it on the agenda. It doesn't indicate that there's any issue with the project itself, but I told the applicant that in fairness to them, we would recommend continuing the item to October 5th so that all that information is available to everybody. And inadvertently, as the city attorney mentioned, it was left off of tonight's agenda where the sole intention of putting it on tonight's agenda was to request a continuance to October 5th. So we're asking that it be added just so that it can be continued.
So this will be added as number 7, correct?
Mm-hmm. So do we have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Motion from Diego, do we have, and second from Sabrina?
Second.
All those in favor, roll call, please.
Mayor Elma Beltran,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sabrina Rodriguez,
Yes.
Councilmember Juanita Molina,
Yes.
Councilmember Diego Garza,
Yes.
Councilmember Catherine Solorio. Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
I have something to add to, and if we could add it to the next meeting, would I?
Just
did
mention
I
what
do
you
that
want.
right now?
Yeah, just
It would
mention.
just be to go over city council's salary, and we could put it under closed session, if it's possible.
Yeah.
For our salary, to put it in closed session for the next meeting.
For the next meeting,
Correct.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we can move on to public comments. Is there anybody from the public that would like to address the council at this time? Okay, hearing none, so we can move forward on to the consent calendar items. And we have any items from the consent calendar that anyone would like to pull for discussion at this time?
I do.
Which,
I want to pull item number 2.
item number 2. Do I have any other? Okay, so we just need one person to pull, so, okay. And is there any other item?
I'm sorry, was I supposed to talk about anything of these in public comment,
Which ones? From the consent calendar?
consent calendar?
No.
No, if you want us to pull one for discussion, you can.
Okay, yes, number 1, please.
Oh, okay. So, okay,
Up.
so then we'll just approve item 3 and 4, because I'm sure no one's pulling that one for discussion, correct? Okay, so do we have a motion to approve item number 3 and number 4?
Motion.
Second.
Sabrina and Diego, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5 yes. So we can start with item number 1.
this to the center?
Could you please? Thank you, Chief.
The new policy and procedures. Thank you. Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Alvarez. I have some questions and clarifications that I'm asking for in regards to item number 1, which is the check report that is attached to the agenda. First are the dates. I'm not sure if only one of the checks date is going to be approved, September 18th. Because item number 1 says approved check report dated September 18th to September 18th. I don't know if anybody actually looked at the check report because the check report states September 2nd to the 18th. So my clarification would be, are you only approving checks for the 18th?
Oh, the typo? Is there a typo?
Oh, I don't know if it's a typo. I'm asking for clarification.
It's a
because-
typo. It is a typo.
Okay, so another error, okay. In addition to that, within the check report, I did see a payment over to the auditor, I believe, for $7,000. And I wanted to ask for clarification whether or not the audit is done, since there's a payment of $7,000 to potentially the auditor. If that is a payment of $7,000 to the auditor, I want to ask and get clarification and notification of when the audit would be available, because it's not online.
The audit, actually, we found out from the auditor, the audit will be ready tomorrow.
Okay. So then that would be
So
available the next meeting?
we will have it available the next meeting. It'll
Okay.
be presented to the council at our next meeting.
Okay. And does that mean that the budget would be completed shortly after?
Yes.
And that would be the budget for 22, 23? if I'm not
23,
mistaken?
24?
No, 22, 20.
No, because the audit's only for 21, 22.
22.
Okay. Again, I believe the audit would be for 23, 24 fiscal year. I may be
Audit?
mistaken.
No.
I mean, the budget, sorry, the budget.
Yeah, the budget, yes, not the audit.
Okay, thank you. And then I would like a clarification. There's some minuscule payments of dollar here, dollar there, $2 payment, $3 payment to an actual individual. Was that individual contracted? I don't know if I missed something in one of the meetings. It looks like it's paid to an exact individual, and then they're backed out, so it just looks a little weird. And then there's an actual payment of $3. So the two were backed out, paid, backed out, paid, backed out. Since we don't have a finance director to ask
Did
this.
ask for her to be here, but I don't know why staff didn't, well, I asked Sonia and Bertha to bring her here, so in case, because there's some questions that I do have, but I don't see her present.
May we get, since I saw that we have an interim, so I wanted to find out if, since we have an interim, if they'll be here to answer some of these questions that we may have on future check reports or financial information.
What is she looking at?
On your grant application, you have her as an interim finance director.
At the check
Oh, yeah,
warrant, it's that minimal $1, the dollar one?
Yeah, but they're
It-
all
it's
for like test runs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I that just looks a little weird to me. So especially when it's small dollars, since I have some background in finance, so it just looked a little weird, and I was just
Yeah,
asking for clarification.
Yeah, I did see that one as well. And, yeah, but I think we do need to have
Yes.
whoever's here to come and just explain, like you said,
I
just explain
appreciate
that,
that. I
that,
agree.
that entry.
And I
We've
did
also,
ask-
Yeah, we've also brought that up too on previous about check reports, because there's actual businesses that are getting checks in not the business name. It's getting checks in the person's name.
Yes.
Which I thought that was weird, but again,
But
that's,
those are valid questions.
yeah.
So I appreciate. Yes, I mean, I did see continuing through here that we did have an interim now. So at that point, that's why I'm asking, like, shouldn't
She
the
should be
intern
present
here?
because if we have an interim that's taking that role, she should be here like the last four. It's in the.
It's in
actually
the, if you look at the CalVIP information for the grants, she's listed as an intern now. So, okay.
But I did ask. I never, I guess she was never notified, or I don't
Her
know. what
mom is extremely ill. There's a reason why.
That's good.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
You
it's
could have,
okay.
you could have explained that to me when I requested that, and nobody explained anything to me.
I actually just got the message.
Well,
Okay.
I asked
Okay.
this from
Well, thank you very
yesterday.
much. I hope that we do see her
I-
next.
I
I
had-
mean, it's only for a
excuse
few
me, guys.
hours, so thank you very much. Those were my only questions in regards to check reports and finances. I do want to say that I did read the minutes for the meeting, and they were pretty much on point. So I do thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the other question on the other agenda? Item?
Your question.
Who's gonna?
This is for the
Number 2.
number 2. Oh, sorry. On the minutes for our meeting of September the 7th, there needs to be a correction for the addition. It says Robert Rules of Order, which wasn't the reason why we had that staff report. It was for hiring a second attorney. Also, Dorothy, I want this on the record, please. Mr. Costanzo, at our last city council meeting, Councilmember Solorio tried adding to the agenda the hiring of a second attorney. There was a motion on the floor, a second, and it was voted with a three yes and 2 no votes. The mayor said it needed a 4 vote in favor for it to pass. In our policies and procedures, it states that council only needs a majority, which is 3 out of 5, vote to add an item to the agenda. As our city attorney, you should have stopped the mayor and allow City Council Solorio to add the item of hiring a second attorney to the agenda. Why wasn't this done?
Because that's not correct.
It's in our policy.
If you were to have placed it on what I refer to as a shadow agenda before as our agenda was being published, then it could have been added by a majority vote. It was not brought to anybody until the day of the meeting, and therefore you're operating under the Brown Act. In order to add something to the agenda, it has to have a 4/5 vote
Just like we had to have that
under
for
the
this.
Brown Act, because you didn't follow the procedure that is set out in the rules that we adopted.
So on the rules that we adopted, it says that to add an item on the agenda, we need a majority vote.
Well, that may be what it says in one
This is the one you
small
gave us.
portion of it.
This is
But
what you gave us.
if you,
Required in all the boards that I attended. It's required for a supermajority because you didn't give the public
if-
enough notice, so you need 4
what
votes.
the rule provides is that the council member is to supply to the city manager
Did she supply it
sufficient
to you?
information and a description of the item before the agenda is posted.
Did she provide it to you, Sonia?
Not before it was posted.
Okay.
Sonia.
So
It
Can
was,
you bring
it
us-
was not exactly before it was posted. He's talking about before,
when you guys would sign,
it was when the agenda was put together,
that's
on the Monday
how you
before.
guys would sign.
Or
and
the
then
Friday
put it
before.
on. Remember?
Yeah, and Monday, that week, I think, was a holiday.
It was a holiday, so it would have been the Friday
Published our
before,
agenda
and
the
I
Friday
wasn't there.
before. And
Gotta give it
so
to you Friday before.
in order to use that majority vote procedure, you would have had to present that to her. She would have had to agree that it was suitable for placement on an agenda, and then we would have placed it on what I refer to as a shadow agenda that we would have published at the same time. And by publishing those at the same time, we're giving people the statutory amount of notice that this thing is likely to be placed on the agenda if it gets a majority vote at the time of the meeting. That way, we can avoid the requirements of the Brown Act that require you to have a 4/5 vote to add something to your agenda.
Excuse me.
What was put on the agenda was the one in the closed session.
Okay, I have something to say. I did mention it to Sonia.
What was put on
Hey.
the agenda was, Kathy,
Well-
what was put on the agenda was
Was the
in
one
the
in
closed session.
which really didn't go anywhere either. Well, it was still put on there for your discussion that you wanted to do. Whether it went the way you wanted to go or not, that's irrelevant. Now we
Isn't
can-
that irrelevant that
it
it
is
didn't go the
irrelevant.
way it
So
should
we
have
can-
gone? It was never
Neil-
allowed for it to
Neil,
get there.
on the Brown Act where it says the 4/5 vote, can you email that to all of us, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's also in the handout, handbook that they have for the Brown Act. It's on there as well, if you look for it. So, is there any other questions?
No, that was
Okay,
it.
so now we can move on and we can do, go ahead. Yeah, I'm just gonna, I guess, is it on this item?
I need to clarify something on I pulled out the minutes also.
Okay, well, that's why I asked.
Yeah,
Go
but
ahead.
you,
No,
I
I
wanna,
didn't
I
do
wanna see if
nothing.
I can make a correction on August 17th on,
Is it on the minutes for here?
I'm just requesting this.
Then you need to, August 17th, did we already approve those minutes? Oh, we can't go back to the approved minutes and change anything that already had been approved. You should have brought it up at that time.
So why back in June, when we said about the cell phone, they went, the cell phone, when you send that message to Dorothy, back in June, when you send the message to Dorothy about not putting the Greenbrier without getting a permit, we went back and we changed the minutes.
Because you guys requested that to be amended, but this here,
I want it amended, I wanna change it.
but this, what are you asking to amend?
Yes, I do.
We can put that on a future agenda.
To
Okay.
amend?
That's what I wanted, that's
Okay.
fine.
So give me
What
the
is the
date of the
amended?
meeting minutes.
August
again.
17th,
And what is the amendment?
October 5th. We want it on October 5th.
October 5th, yeah,
And
that's
what
right.
is the amendment? I need to know what the amendment is.
To fix
For
this,
the August 17th.
What
meeting.
is the August 17 minutes that you want to amend? What is the language you want on there? That is what I'm trying to explain to you.
Does she have to explain that now?
Well, we need to know, because we're gonna vote on it. Why is it her
We
secret?
can explain it when you put it on the agenda. You can explain it now, whatever you want to do.
I just don't understand.
That's good, we'll do that when we put it
Why-
on the agenda, Neil,
okay.
thank you.
If we're,
I just wanna know, why is it a secret right now?
Neil, we'll do it when it's time for the agenda, okay? You said it,
But
that's it.
I also have a right to know what we're doing, because we are changing something that I would like to know what we're changing. I don't want it to just appear one day and here we are making
No, that's not gonna
changes.
disappear, we were
Yes,
looking
it
forward for
will.
that meeting, Neil.
Not wanting to
Exactly the way you said amendment, sir,
Point
and we'll
of
talk
order
about
here,
it then.
because I am having
in
the,
order for me to put it on the agenda,
you still need to tell me what it
I'm
is,
going to have to disclose
what you're saying.
in the staff report that's going to accompany this agenda item what the amendment is. So what you need to do is you need to tell me after the meeting and before the next meeting, before we post the agenda, what it is you want changed in those meeting minutes. okay?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
I still don't agree that you're trying to not be open and transparent. You just want to.
Thank you, Neil.
If there's no problem with it, then there shouldn't be a problem in discussing it. So with that, we can move on to the,
Wait, Mayor.
okay, item number 2. That's right.
On item number 2, I made very specifically, and I told you that you guys are costing the city, you're bleeding the city a lot, because you guys are getting paid as much as 3 times what the regular communities are getting paid. The mayor is making $975, I believe, and every one of
904,
you,
and they are making 800.
Mayor, you can correct me later. I
Yeah.
just giving you what I know.
Yeah.
You know, and I believe that council members are getting 775, which is 3 times more than the rest of the cities are getting. Even Clovis, and Clovis is big. Plus, At the beginning, you said $110 to travel expenses, Mayor.
That's
On
the
a
per
daily
diem.
basis to travel from your house to here.
I was not,
Your house is less than a mile. I mean, that was what you guys were telling us.
No,
So
that's not
so
what I was
just
telling you.
made that sure that is clear, because
so
here only
that's
said,
not
wait a
even
minute,
on
Mayor,
the
wait a minute.
minutes. You're not,
It
I
says
asked you,
complain about
Humberto,
Council Estepens.
Humberto,
I mentioned the salary that they're getting that is
Humberto.
costing the city a lot of money. So I
Humberto.
want that to be on the record too.
Humberto, I asked you if you were gonna discuss anything that's on the minutes, and you're talking about salaries. So please stay on topic.
Minutes.
I'm asking you to
Minutes. She did
stay
not
on
put-
topic.
Mayor, you not
stay on
listen,
topic.
you listen only what you
About what
want.
was posted on
I'm
the
telling
minutes.
you that they need to do the posting, which is exactly what I did. The minutes are wrong, because I said exactly how much money you're making and how much money each individual
public
council member
record.
is making. But it doesn't say here in the
It's
minutes.
public record.
But he's,
No,
you're
the
correcting, you're
minutes
correcting
doesn't
the
say.
minutes.
Well, again,
This is the minutes
and
that you
this
guys
is,
put
this
on the
is,
record.
this is the problem that you guys
Oh,
don't
the
fail to
minutes.
On
understand,
the
that
minutes.
are not verbatim. They're not verbatim, and it's not pick and choose of what you
The
want on
minutes
there.
Oh,
are
my God.
incorrect, though.
Are incorrect, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Let me just
What
tell
is-
you, lo voy a decir en español porque
It says-
chance que no entiendan mi
it-
inglés.
Council
I don't
complained-
think he's saying the
complained
minutes are
about
incorrect. I
Council
think he's saying the
Stiffen.
minutes
He
are
wanted something
incomplete,
on
and
there
there's
that
something
he-
that he wants on the minutes that aren't on there.
Exactly, that's not
And
that they're incorrect.
All I'm saying
Humberto, please.
is that when you have meeting minutes prepared, what she does is she gives a brief summary of the substance of what you
They are.
said.
This-
And I bet, I haven't looked at them, I bet they say something like,
They're not
It doesn't
correct.
say
"So
anything.
said,
Correct.
It doesn't say anything. Look at what it says.
they're incorrect?
They're incorrect.
Totally incorrect.
Okay,
Humberto
it
Gomez
is on, it actually, Humberto, it is on there, but it didn't say word for word. And she did put it on the only thing, okay, it's not gonna go word for word because I don't see it anywhere else that you see, I do not. I'm,
Meetings, and that's why you
okay,
are
we need to move on, thank you. And so do I have a motion to approve item number 1 and number 2?
minutes, Dorothy, please.
Well,
wait.
it says he complained about the council's stipend,
Yeah, it's misspelled, but
which
it's,
is an accurate summary description.
I get it, Neil, but it's not, you're not gonna convince him. He wants it word for word, and it's not gonna happen word for word. She'll be here writing 3 pages of that. So do I have a motion to approve the minutes now? And then, bringing the amended ones back for October 5th?
We just needed,
Well, can we
Spell the
approve
word
with
correctly.
Just the minutes.
Change his wording?
The,
If you direct a change in the wording and there's a majority that agrees with you, that's fine. What do you propose?
I will propose that you guys.
We're having the discussion, you already had the time.
Mayor, you had my
Humberto,
time, okay?
respect us.
You had my time.
I'm taking my time back. I'm taking my time back. I have the floor.
Humberto,
need
can
to
you
have
let
a
us
seat.
figure this one out for you, please?
Have a seat.
We'll change it to, or approve it, but with an agreement to change because it says stiffen, if that's how you read it correctly.
To
And
be
it's supposed to be stipend, like a stipend.
And just a typo.
Yeah,
It's just a
of course.
typo.
And then also add the salaries like what he had mentioned.
And that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah,
But we're not gonna do word for word.
and salaries.
yeah, stipend and salary.
Stipend and
Okay,
salaries.
so do we have a motion?
That he says the salaries are 904.
I think we need to
Are
put,
you okay with stipend and salaries,
Salaries?
or you want the actual number on
We
there?
need the actual number. People needs to know how much money you
Not a
make.
problem.
I'm just asking what the
and
actual
can you
number-
add on there, the stipend is not 900,
The stipend at
970, so you're giving actually false information.
It's whatever,
Whatever the amount would have been, right?
well, that's not what he said. It's
Well,
gonna
yeah,
be whatever he
it
said
ought to be
in
what
that,
he said.
yeah.
So,
And
Even if it's
if
inaccurate.
wrong,
Give me that presentation.
A mess.
Wait a minute,
No,
Dorothy,
no,
please.
you need
No,
to
let
have
me
a seat,
clarify that
Humberto.
the
You already
reason
said what you
that
needed to say.
I don't want whatever I say. I want the public to know
And
that you are getting overpaid.
So with
Okay,
that,
And I
that's
want the
fine.
money.
I know it's,
She
you're
is-
targeting me, but that's
it would
fine.
go.
Reporting what you say. So tell me what you said.
You lie, you lie.
Humberto, please
I don't
have a
lie.
seat. You are very destructive and very unprofessional and rude.
Okay.
You need to have a seat and stop getting up and you're acting out of order. Very, very much so here. If you want to voice your concerns, we can listen to it. But this fiasco here needs to stop. You do this every meeting. It needs to stop. I get it. You don't like me. You've made it very clear. You're always after me. That's fine. That is your opinion.
Order, point of order, please. Point of order. Listen.
Okay, point of order means when someone
Neil,
interrupts.
tell them to put the numbers of our pay and that's all. It's just
I
simple.
have the floor, and I expect you to respect when I have the floor, Kathy. May I finish this, please? No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't go by the majority when I run the meeting. I'm sorry. Learn the Brown Act. What I was saying to you, Humberto, is that you can voice your concerns, but be respectable. That is what I'm asking you to do. Because you can say whatever you want, whether it's true or lies or not, that is fine. That is your opinion. But when you come up here and get up and walk over here and walk over there and walk over here, that is very disrespectful. And you should not be behaving this way. It makes our council meetings a mockery. Please respect the council. Please. That's all please.
Please take the advice for you.
Please. There you just don't want to stop. You just can't
We have a
stop.
council member asking to be recognized, ma'am.
Jesus Christ, help me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the minutes, the public presentation, so it should be the council stipend and salaries. If you want the amount, it needs to be the amount you stated up here. Now, your amounts can be brought up with Diego's addition to the next agenda item, which is about the salaries. Okay.
So then we don't
Can
really
we
need
just
to.
put that in that together?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yes.
So are we going to move on to this next item now? So do I have a motion to approve?
I motion.
Motion for Sabrina. Do I have a second?
I second with the point of the stipend and salaries on the new agenda thing.
Okay. And Diego. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5 yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now let's move on to the next item, which is regular business. We have
Okay.
the policy for the disconnection of the water service and
Yes.
adopting the policy.
Mayor, members of the council, what you have before you is a resolution adopting.
Humberto, may I please? I can't.
What you have before you is a resolution adopting a policy on discontinuation of residential water service for non-payment of the bill. This is what is required by AB 998, which has now been codified as Health and Safety Code Section 116900. And if you look at the policy, it requires a number of things of you before you act to shut off somebody's water for non-payment of the bill in the event that it is a residential water service. First of all, it has to be more than 60 days delinquent in payment before you take any action whatsoever. You have to actually make contact or make very extreme efforts to actually make contact with the actual occupant where the water service is being provided. You have to provide them with a copy of the policy along with any written notification that you provide them. They prefer that you contact them telephonically and recite to them the various accommodations that you're required to make, which include things like amortizing the delinquent amount for payment over a period of 12 months. There are certain circumstances in which you cannot turn off the water under any circumstances, and those largely involve a situation where the person occupying the premises is both in danger of having a serious health condition exasperated by the unavailability of water, and or that person is 200% below the poverty line, which is presumed to be the case in the event that person is receiving any form of state subsidy or welfare or
Assistance.
those sorts of things, assistance. When you do disconnect the water, you have to tell them how they can get it reconnected. If you give them notice that you're going to do it, you have to give them the opportunity to appeal, which is initially done by your city manager or your city clerk, as the case may be. And if they're not satisfied with that outcome, they can come to you and appeal the amount of their bill. So there's a lot of legwork involved in discontinuing somebody's water supply. We provided this policy to staff back on February of 2020 when it was supposed to be adopted.
Yes.
Staff adopted it, and as far as I know, they conformed to it to the extent they were shutting off water for people for non-payment. What did not occur is that the policy was not translated into Spanish and English and posted to the website. That is something your resolution now directs to occur. There's also a reporting on the website to be made. You only report the number of shutoffs during a given period, not the address or the person or anything like that, just the number of residential shutoffs for non-payment, and you have to report that same number to the State Water Resources Control Board.
So a question on that, because I know that they were not following this process. I've been getting several complaints from the community as far as residents being shut off immediately after they were missed that date. Some of them didn't even get to miss the date, and they were already being shut off. And I asked them if they were already in a payment plan. Some of them were, and some of them weren't. So I think that this is the reason why I wanted to make sure that this policy was approved by council so that it's official, because I know that before they had an in-house policy. But it is important for us to follow what the state law requires, which is posting it on the website, Sanger has it, and follow the process that we're supposed to follow, because it's to protect the resident. This is not, and this was passed back in 2018 when it was, this law was passed. So I just wanted to make sure that we do whatever we can to protect them, because right now it's still hard for some of them. And once we start seeing what's the number of shutoffs that we're gonna have, because now it's gonna be reported on the website, then you'll be able to see the hardship that we have here. Because some people have to decide whether to put food on the table or pay their water bill. And some of them don't have any assistance because some of them may not be able to be eligible because they're not legally here, so they can't apply for a lot of assistance. So that's the other part of it that I see that is very important, that we don't harm our community, that we try to work with them, because I don't see that they want to just get free stuff. I think that they just want to make it to where they can afford the bill, because they have told me that they were forced to pay whatever was told for them to pay. And I said, well, they're supposed to sit with you and see what you can afford to pay extra. Like if it's $50 more, then you pay $50 more. But we don't give you the amount that you're going to pay, because if not, then we're setting you up for failure. And that's the reason why I wanted to make sure that we had it here in front of the council for us to approve this, so we can have it on the website, so that the residents can know what our policy is, what's the process, instead of getting different stories all the time that they have a situation. So I don't believe in trying to harm our family, our community, because they're hard workers. They're trying to make ends meet, especially right now after COVID. Everybody's still trying to survive that. So it's important for us to work with them as much as we can. I know that we have a couple here that were talking about to me earlier about their water bill, and we need to work on that, as well as the residents that have renters. So I know that he said that he had the bill on that person's name, but it's also in his name, and he came in and wanted to talk to them about the bill, and they were not giving him any information because even though it was in his name as well, they still were not giving him information. And I said, well, that's why we allowed you both to be on the bill, so that the owner can know what's going on with the renter, so that way he can make sure that the renter is paying. Well, that wasn't happening. So he says that the renter left them with a $1,700, I believe $1,700, $1,700? A $1,700 bill that they have to deal with now. And they were told that they have to pay it. So I just want to make sure that, that's why I want to make sure that we have a policy and a procedure, and this, to avoid this situation. So, because had he known what the balance was, I'm sure he would have been able to get on the renter to make sure that they paid the bill. So now he's stuck with this bill. He says that he's forced to pay it. And so I would rather have Sonia, when you get a chance, pueden pasar con Sonia y a ver qué puede arreglar de esto, okay? So that way they can resolve that. But that's the reason why I wanted to make sure that we talked about this.
So this was very confusing. So this was already approved in 2020, correct?
It was provided to your staff, and staff was directed to conform to it, not by the council, but.
Okay.
It is a state law.
So what our department was going off of, is that wasn't written anywhere? It was just kind of, this is what you should be doing.
There's the policy you've got before you. It's the same policy I provided to your staff in February of 2020.
Okay.
Before the due date, actually. It was January 2020.
Okay, so then it came up again when the new finance director came in, and I remember talking about the water. We need to collect from those, who owe water, and it was brought up about shutting people off. I'm just concerned what has been going on. I do recall we did talk about the homeowner and the landlords, those who are renting. We do have to come in and fill out a form. That's one thing we had asked. And they were both going to be on there, so they both can obtain information on their account, correct? So is that what was not done in this situation?
Correct.
Okay. And I talked to Diego about this. We were kind of like, okay, what does this mean? So how far are we giving them to not pay before we're supposed to turn it off?
Depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
Typically, what you have to do is you have to make contact.
Yes.
You have to tell them, you have to give them a copy of the policy.
copy of, yes.
You have to tell them, if you can't pay this, we will amortize that amount, and we will allow you to pay that over a period of 12 months, in addition to keeping regular on your current bill,
payment.
right? So you get like a bill that's, if your typical bill
A bill
is
and a quarter of
$100,
a bill, yeah.
it's going to be, and you got a debt of
of
$100 on there, it's going to be $112,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And you're not allowed to charge interest on that amortized amount. And if they come to you and they say, well, I don't know that much, you got to give them,
Yes,
an opportunity to
opportunity,
appeal
yes.
That means they go to the city manager, they get a review of the bill. City manager either says, you know, you owe it or that you don't. They're not happy with that, they get to come to you. And during that entire process, you can't shut off their water.
Okay.
If you've got somebody that is on WIC or
Yeah.
Any kind of
Any
assistance.
program.
kind of federal or state assistance for low-income persons, you can't shut off
Shut
their
'em off.
water, period. And you've got to basically carry that debt and give them the opportunity to pay it over
Make payments,
a
yeah.
very long period of time,
Okay.
or simply forgive it.
Okay.
And
so,
that's-
but I'm saying this
This
it was
is where-
approved, but it wasn't provided in Spanish.
No, no, no.
correct?
What happened was, let me just clarify that. When, Kathy, would you please stop?
It
it
was
was-
approved administratively.
It was just given a
It's
directive.
really just an administrative thing.
Yeah.
The only people that are concerned about this are the people in your water
Water
billing
pl-
department. And this just tells them when you can and when you cannot turn off
And-
somebody's water if it's a residential water service.
Okay.
And what they're expected to do. And, you know, I received several emails from the former code enforcement guy that I was copied on that were going back and forth to your finance department, talking about, you know, how they needed to do all that. So, you know, from my perspective, they were conforming. What they didn't do is they didn't translate it into Spanish and English, put it on the website.
And the reason why it came about again is because when, Kathy, just let me, all the time. The reason why we put it on the agenda and I asked Neil to do this and for the council to approve this is because the community has been coming to me and complaining about what they're being told and that they're being told that they're gonna be shut off because they have to pay X amount of dollars. And I said, well, they're supposed to work with you and what you can afford, because if you can't afford, people that are on fixed incomes cannot just hand out another extra $100. So, and back then when we talked about it, I was gonna say, is that Neil mentioned to the last former finance director that you can start shutting off, but there is a process that you must follow because of the new law. And they explained that to her, and it was fine, but now, for some reason, just recently, I started to get those complaints about being shut off and not being worked, they weren't working with them, and one of them even told me she only owed her balance was $300, and they were telling her to pay another $100 on top of that. She's in a fixed income, and she can't do it, and she says, there's no way I could do that, I can't afford that. I said, well, they're supposed to work with you on what you can afford, and you have actually 12 months to do it. She said, well, no, that's not what it was explained to me. So that is the reason why I made sure that now it is in front of the council, and the council approves this policy, so it is official and nothing that is internal, because for some reason it was not being followed. So that's the reason why.
I have a question.
Questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
I have a question. How are we doing in the water? Are we in a deficit? And will that affect our deficit?
How are you doing on your water fund, and are you in a deficit?
Yes.
You have to have your financial records before
No,
me to answer.
we
Maybe
are.
you can do that for us, please.
That
If
is
we're in
one
a
fund.
deficit, and if that would affect our, okay, thank you.
No,
We can have our finance.
no, that is one fund that we are in a deficit, and it's because of the whole COVID time with not paying.
And that's what the
I'm sorry,
last
Sonia,
fin-
we didn't hear you. What's that?
It was the last finance director that she said that, right? She said that the reason why it was a lot of.
It was because of the non-payments.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And you got to remember that the water fund is an enterprise fund. It's the only funds, these are the only funds that the city, you have to look at it, it's a business. It's like a business. We are offering a service to the city, and so we have to pay for this water. We don't get it for free. So we're paying for this water. We need to be paid for it as well.
Yeah, but we also need to follow the law, and if that's something that the
We are.
state
Yeah,
passed, that's
I
something that we
agree.
have to
Yes.
make sure that we follow and give them the opportunity, because just because we want to make sure we get the money, and then if they can't pay for it, you're going to go back to square one again, because you're not really working with them. And if they see that you're working with them and they're giving, they don't want to be in debt. They don't want to have that balance. They just want to be able to pay what they can afford.
And that's why we have these procedures, right? That's why we have the
Yes.
procedure of when they come in and staff talks with them and helps them out in how, because I
we-
know the last time we brought the water issue up, it was mentioned that they were following the state laws. They were following exactly what it
That's
says.
staff saying,
Excuse
though.
me.
I do have a
Wait, well, can I finish?
That was my perspective as well.
Yeah. Okay, and
We're following that policy because I kept seeing these emails going back and forth between the code enforcement guy that's going out and serving them with the notices and your finance department.
yeah.
Neil, I do
and
have
they
a,
and they
Telling me,
Yeah.
what we
I have a
can't-
resident
we
that wants
can't
to say
do it
something.
yet because it hasn't been 60 days, for example.
Yes.
Yes, and also, Neil, remember last year, before I even became into council, that we had a meeting here where people were bringing in their water bills that were being billed to them because the city was trying to recuperate 500,000, or what were you guys last year? That the city was out of water and they were sending bills to people that already had even passed away. And
that
sending
was
the
a
bills-
different situation.
It was
wasn't
the water bill. It was the water
But
bill.
it was a renter.
Water, it was the water bills, and that's when they changed. That's when they
renters
changed
and the-
from being whoever rented the home. If you were renting a home, the water bill had to be in the homeowner's name.
That's a different situation. I
Why-
do have a resident that does
But
want.
why is it different if we're still talking about the same?
No, I'm saying that was a different situation of
Well,
what
no, I
the notice
understand what
was.
you're saying, but can I finish,
What
please?
we were trying to do is we were
were
trying to
trying
get the bills in the
Yes.
homeowner's name.
Mm-hmm.
We were allowing the homeowner and/or the tenant to add their name if they were occupying that property, specifically because of this policy, okay? Because
Exactly.
we have
So we
to
already
know-
had
we have
done
to
this,
know
talked
who's
about it.
occupying the property
Yes,
Okay.
in order to comply with the policy.
yes.
Neil.
And if the
Right.
renters could not pay the water bill, or the renters left, the homeowners were gonna be,
That was
we're
always
gonna
a
be
problem,
liable.
and that's
Because
why
I
we wanted
remember,
it- That's why we wanted it in the homeowner's name, so that if the tenant
So-
skipped town without paying the bill, we would be able to put that on the tax rolls.
yes,
Because
because,
otherwise, if it's not in the homeowner's name, you can't do that.
exactly, because the lady, I remember the lady that spoke that day, she said, why are you charging me water when the bill is not in my name? It was in my renter's name, and the city gave her back her $200 deposit, and now you guys want me to pay for it? You guys need to go get that money from her, from the renter. She said it here that day at the meeting.
Well, and that's the case. If
And
in
then-
fact, if
and
in
then-
fact that bill was not in her name.
That's when the city
we
was
had no
changing it.
recourse on that.
And
And
Yes.
that's one of the many bills we had to write off.
And that's what you guys were, the city
So-
was, and I say you guys because I wasn't in council then. That's when,
And-
the city changed it to where if you are the homeowner, if it is your rental, the bill goes in your name. Because if your renter leaves, then the bill, you're responsible for the bill, right?
And we have
And
one
we would
here,
tr-
we have a
and-
resident that wants
And
to
it's
speak
good,
on that.
and I'm not, don't get me wrong, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to help our residents. We're here to help whatever situation it is, if it's them, if it's anybody. That's what we're here for.
Neil.
But we need to also remember, do we want
I-
to go back to
There-
the
no,
problems that we're
they
already in
were
a deficit
next.
with the water? We're already
were
in
next.
a deficit, so I'm saying we're in a deficit. But we need to figure out how do we not go into a deficit and also help our residents?
Well,
So
Well,
we
I
need to
believe
do that.
In a future meeting, I believe we have adjustment to the water rates, don't we?
yes.
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 And then we also have another
can I-
state
can I-
fund or state arrears
Can I
coming.
just interrupt because
Please
she's been
don't, we
wait-
need to carry on with this.
the resident has been trying to get up to say a few words, and I'm trying to get her to get up. So we can carry on later on, but and council comments, but they're here, you know, it's their time, and I do
And we
want.
should have brought her up first instead
Well,
of us speaking.
Well, he presented the,
I'll
he,
sit down.
Thank you.
you would not let me. Go ahead. Pásale para acá, por favor. Pásale. Sí. So,
She says you are in a deficit.
Quería si por favor me interpretara lo que está diciendo el señor.
sí,
Por favor.
lo que está
No
diciendo.
todo, nomás más o menos.
Lo que está
¿verdad?
diciendo es que hay una policía que tenemos ya, que tenemos que seguir las reglas de lo que le expliqué un poquito anterior, que antes de que empezáramos la junta, que no pueden desconectarlos sin tener un pago de, un arreglo de pago cuando están atrasados. Y eso es una cosa que le dije que era parte de la ley del Estado que hicieron. Y es lo que está presentando a hoy, que tenemos ese policy de que tenemos que enforzar eso, de ayudar a los residentes de que pueden pagar lo que están atrasados. Mientras que paguen, no se puede cerrar la cuenta. Y eso no, yo sé que no le afecta a usted porque su situación es un poquito diferente, pero eso es para ayudar a los que están atrasados, que lleguen con la ciudad a tener un arreglo para que paguen lo que se debe.
Ok. Entonces, entendí un poco que van a venir los biles a nombre del dueño de la casa.
Eso es el arreglo que puede ser el dueño, porque realmente el responsable de la propiedad es el dueño, porque el dueño es el que tiene la propiedad. Si vas a rentar, puedes poner el nombre, el del bill, como lo tenía usted, a nombre del rentero y de ustedes. Así están avisados de lo que está pasando con la cuenta. Así si se atrasan, ustedes van a saber de que están atrasados, ¿verdad? Y el problema que sucedió con ustedes es de que no les avisaron, y cuando ustedes trataron de preguntar de que querían información de la cuenta, no le quieren dar la información, ¿correcto?
Correcto. Y también, si está a nombre el bill de nosotros y de ellos, lo importante es que ustedes nos avisen cuando está siquiera un mes atrojado, no dejen un año.
Yo sé.
Porque
Eso es lo que
ahorita-
eso es lo que debería de estar pasando, pero lo que es lo que
Sí.
no estaba pasando.
Ándele.
Y eso es lo que queremos arreglar ahora con esto que está ahorita, porque ese policy que teníamos ya lo tenían los empleados.
Sí.
De lo que lo estaban siguiendo, no lo estaban siguiendo, no, eso no sé decirle, porque de seguro de que no lo estaban siguiendo, porque si hay muchas quejas de la comunidad de que no estaban haciendo o avisándoles, eso es claro de que no estaban siguiendo la policía que tenemos nosotros. Por eso ahora lo traje aquí al concilio, para que ellos votaran, y ya sea que esté en el internet de la ciudad. Si gente quiere saber de qué es la policy que tenemos, pueden ver en el internet. Y
Exacto.
pueden ver las reglas, y va a estar en español también.
Exacto, y lo más importante, digo yo, que si un mes no lo pagan, 2 no van a pagarlo, 8 o 9 meses menos, porque ahorita nos deben un rentero $1,700 y se fue. ¿Dónde lo pescas?
Sí.
Nosotros lo vamos a tener que pagar, y ya nos dijeron aquí, ok, lo vamos a pagar. ¿Qué vamos
Y
a
la
hacer?
razón de que no le cerraron la cuenta es porque estaba el tiempo del COVID. Empezaron y ya le avisaron que empezaron a hacer eso en este año.
Y otra casa que tenemos, ya se atrojó el hombre, más de $500. Y si no paga un bill, ¿cómo va a pagar 500?
Sí, pero por eso tiene que entrar él, y puede usted notificarlos a ellos que tienen que entrar a hacer un arreglo aquí para
Sí.
que no les cierren, porque sí pueden cerrárselo. Ya si no entra, no viene a tratar de arreglar algo, van a seguir el proceso, y si no entran aquí a hacer ese arreglo, entonces les cierran el agua.
Aquí la van a...
Aquí hacen un arreglo.
¿Al rentero?
Sí.
Ah, qué bueno.
Okay.
Muy bien, gracias, muy amable.
I have a question.
Yes.
Like if a resident is behind in their water bill and they sign a contract to pay the back payments plus the current, is the city allowed to put late fee on those payments?
I think they have late fees.
Yes.
That does accumulate.
You are not, you're allowed to put, when you enter into one of those agreements, what you do is you take the whole delinquent amount, which might include late fees. And you amortize that over 12 months, maximum. And you don't add on to anything once you've entered into that agreement for them to pay that in installments. So the late fees stop the moment you enter into that arrangement with them.
Yes.
Unless they're late again on the current.
Well, actually, if they're late again, they break their contract. If they're late again, then they've broken their contract.
Yeah, if they're late on paying the delinquent amount that you've amortized over 12 months.
Then they've broken their
Then
contract.
they broke that contract and you're free to start the disconnection process.
So Neil, quick question. So wouldn't it be the city managers or the finance director, whoever's in charge of that, the finance, well, we don't have a finance director right now.
We have an interim.
Or we might have an interim, whatever it is. But isn't that the point of the city manager to be making sure that these rules are followed? Because, I mean, on the policy, I want to say it's only like 60 days. But then I understand that if they're on WIC and stuff. But if there's two people, like, for instance, this lady, if there's two people and one's on WIC and one's not, does it still get shut off?
Anybody in the household.
As long as there's anybody, okay? just
Anybody in
making
the
sure.
household.
Household of the
Now,
property.
keep in mind, our staff does not ask if
anybody
they're
who
on
is
WIC or anything. They have to offer that information.
But I think it would be important.
If you have a landlord
to say if
that
they're
is on
any
public
assistance.
assistance, but the
Because-
tenant is occupying the property, the fact that the landlord is on public assistance is irrelevant.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then
Yeah.
Sonia, I mean, I'm sorry, but are we or are we not following the process of the?
We're following.
I-
We're giving longer than 60
I
days.
think we are.
Given far longer. And when they go into a contract and they've broken that contract by not paying, we have given them another contract over and over. And when we're actually allowed to shut them off, instead we have given them another contract
I think
and then
that's what you
another.
said, that you're not supposed to shut them off unless they have some kind of assistance. That's why I think it is important to ask. You don't have to get into their, like, what assistance they have. If you receive it, they could even put it on their, like, on the applications, when you fill out an application, it says you receive Medi-Cal.
That is actually up to them, but.
No, they're
you're-
supposed to
you're
offer that
correct. I mean, you
information.
should make the inquiry. If you're making contact with them, what you have to, either in writing
Right.
or in person, what you have to do is you have to give them a copy of the policy. And so they can.
And that hasn't been
They
happening.
can see from that policy that if they're receiving this type of public assistance, they're presumed to be 200% under the poverty line, and they're pretty much exempt from all this.
Yeah.
Now, we also offer all
Yes, they do.
sorts of assistance. We have a staff member that does nothing but call these people and offer assistance all day long. That's what she does.
And that may be so, but I'm getting different feedback from the community.
Well,
so-
I know that that's what she does.
so
I see her, that's what she does.
That's the only reason why I made sure that this was here, because we need to make sure we follow. And a lot of them, like I said, they're having a hard time. And I'm not saying like just give everything for free, but at least give them a chance to try to work it out. Because the way they were being told again was you have to pay $100. And one of them told me that her balance was only $300. And she goes, I could barely make it right now. And I said, well, they should have worked with you, because if it's not even a large amount in 12 months, I mean, it shouldn't have been that. So I think we just need to be a little bit more understanding and not just quick to shut them off. You know, when I first came in here, that's what we had. We had 200 water shutoffs. And that's when I got involved before I became mayor, because of that same reason. I don't want to be the one that was fighting over there on that issue and be the one that's causing the same issue I was fighting against. So that's the reason why I brought it up.
Okay, so I have a, I don't know if it's a recommendation or a request, that I think it's really, really important for our council meetings that we have interpreter, where the headsets, when we're doing our council meeting, where our residents that do not speak English can participate in our meetings, because le estoy diciendo que estoy haciendo una recomendación que para los residentes de la ciudad de Parlier que no entienden inglés o que no hablan inglés, y que hay muchos juntas donde les ponen los headsets, donde usted puede venir y oír, y tenemos una intérprete que les puede decir lo que están hablando todos, porque yo sé es duro cuando están hablando y no los entendemos el lenguaje bien. Y yo eso lo hago también con el español, pero le estoy diciendo que es una recomendación que me gustaría yo para nuestras juntas, para traer los presidentes de Parlier que no, que es duro la lengua de inglés, y eso es lo que le estoy pidiendo al concilio ahorita.
Yeah, and we've done
I'm
that.
familiar with that because they do that in court. But what I don't understand is how this all works. Is there a person somewhere?
Person that's interpreting, like everything you're saying, that person is talking into their mic, and it's going straight into their headset.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
they're
the,
interpreting everything that's being said.
the equipment is a minuscule expense.
Right.
But what you would have to have
Is an
you would
interpreter.
have to hire a certified interpreter.
Right, and we've done that, Neil. We did that back in 2015, and we actually utilized the one that the school has. But what we found at that time is that sometimes there was nobody here to interpret. So it's good, but it just depends. It's
Yeah, well, if you were to do it, what you would need to do is you would have to hire somebody that would be dependable and be here at every single meeting and sit there and religiously interpret every word you guys are saying, which is very difficult to do when you guys talk at the same time, by the way.
Yeah. But yes.
They're good at their job. It's just like, yeah, that's their job.
Good point, Neil.
so I think
So, yeah, that I agree with her. I say we look into that, and I think there's more questions.
yes, I think there was the public that wanted. So we're done with the council, and we're just gonna move up to the public. I think. Okay, I think it's Humberto. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for thinking that way to help people. The water has been discussed several times. We got notices from the previous city, I don't know what she was, city administrator or city manager, I don't know what that she was going to send even the notice to Paul Dictos, which is the controller. And that's going to be tied into our property. So yeah, a lot of people came in, and actually I thank you, Mayor, because you helped us turn down that. But we've been discussing the water a lot, and regardless if we were not complying with the resolution, I really thank you for thinking that way, that we need to help people, provided that they're willing to pay it. And because I was a renter on my time too, and it was hard for me to even get the water turned on because I was the renter. I knew that it has to be signed also by the landlord. So I really thank you for that, that, but we've been discussing this over and over, over and over, so.
Yes, and we probably won't be done with water. We're always gonna have some issues, yeah. So, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon again. My name is Sandra Alvarez. So there was just some concerns. In addition to concerns, some clarifications. Again, my concern is that the report to the city council states that they've abided by everything of the policy and the law, with the exception of putting it onto the website in English and Spanish. That even putting it on English and Spanish only is, again, not abiding by the law. If you were to read 998, AB 998 in its entirety, it does state that the policy shall be available on the website if the provider has one, which City of Parlier does, not a great one, but they do have one. It does continue to state that the policy shall be available in English, Spanish, Chinese, Tagalog, Vietnamese, and Korean. I did provide this information to the city council last meeting.
I believe that it's only applicable if you have 10% of your
No.
population that,
Incorrect.
no, I believe that's correct.
Incorrect. And the reason why I say that is incorrect is because
don't
it
laugh.
does
Come on.
state here
It's
in
professional.
those languages, in addition to any other language spoken by at least 10% of the people residing in the service area. So all of these languages, in addition to any other language that is spoken above 10%.
You're reading it incorrectly.
Okay, how am I reading it incorrectly, please? Clarification, because again, I went to Sanger, Selma, Kingsburg, other cities within California, and they all have it: English, Spanish, Chinese, Tagalog, Vietnamese, and Korean. All of them. So if you go to any of those websites and look at them, they all have them in those 7 languages.
So what we can do, Neil, is just put it on the website with those languages, if that's.
Please.
That's fine. The statute does not require that. The statute specifically requires you to put it in a language that is spoken by 10% of your population.
Neil, can you speak into the mic, please? 'Cause you can't hear you at all. Please.
So,
I
Okay,
said
tell us,
the
say it again.
statute specifically requires that it be in the language spoken by at least 10% of your population. She is missing ands, ors, and commas.
There is an and.
Reading of the statute.
There is an and.
That's the simplest way I can put it.
Okay.
Would you like to see the
So-
998? Because
so
I do have
why
it.
don't we just put it up just in case? You just never know if there is some that need to have it in their
Or maybe our
language. We
city
don't know.
manager can look it up.
We don't know
and
what the
research
other
that.
percentage might be.
Fine, you have to send it, yeah, I don't think there's anybody in our city that speaks Vietnamese.
Well, we don't know, but might as.
Well,
I think
anybody
there is.
in City Hall that can translate it into Vietnamese.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So you're gonna have to hire a Vietnamese translator to put it in that language. You have to hire a Chinese translator to put it in that language.
And you know
Yeah.
what? That would be good because we do have some Chinese that own property here as well. And I know that we have still some Chinese that currently live here. Japanese, Chinese, whatever language that we need to put so that we can cover everyone. I'm not gonna, that's why I'm saying, if that's what it states on there, might as well just put it on the website, just in case there is somebody. Maybe it's just one person, but if we have that one person that wants to ask about that, they might be business owners. They want to probably know about that as well still, just even though it really doesn't apply to them, but they might want to know. So I think it would be good just to put it up if that's what the request is from our public. I don't see any harm from it. And if we're willing to go and pay for an interpreter for Spanish, and sometimes we don't even have people here that speak only Spanish, and I speak Spanish, I translate as much as I can. We are Spanish speakers up here, except for some that are, okay, a little bit, right? A little bit in Spanglish, that still works, So we can get our point across, but if that's something that the request is, and we're gonna spend money on that, then why not just spend on the document that should go on the website? I just don't see the problem on it.
Why don't we take a survey? How many Japanese,
The law, though.
all that, how many we have? Let's take a survey. If it's past the 10%,
I don't think we need a survey.
That's the problem with a lot of these statutes they enact. How are you supposed to determine
Yeah.
what language is spoken by 10% of your population? I'll bet
What does
you.
it matter? But other communities surrounding us all have it, and they're abiding by this wording of shall.
So we could just do it.
Yeah,
Can we just look
I
into it?
disagree with your interpretation of the statute.
And I understand you
Why
disagree.
they've done that, and so I can't really speak to why that's occurring.
So maybe we could just look into it and then try to get that up there.
We'll just look
Yeah.
into it, okay?
I mean, I
This
don't
is
see no
October,
harm.
so October 5th?
So let's
Okay,
move
thank you.
forward.
October 5th.
Okay,
5th. Thank you.
thank you.
In addition to that, going further on down in the policy, 4. On 2.2, if I can please get clarification for failure to make contact. I'm not sure where I'm not seeing at all, where it says that notice must be provided to the person listed on the water bill at least 7 days before the possible termination of service. So under failure to make contact, should that be there? Because I'm not seeing 7 days anywhere other than in item number 9, which is service to residents occupied by tenants, where it says terminated at least 10 days prior to termination.
There you go. That's what the statute requires.
So 10 days prior, but that's for notice. This is for notice, that the person should be notified at least 7 days. This is talking about termination.
I would have to see what you're reading from.
Okay.
I don't.
And this is information that I provided last week. Did anybody bring back their information since they knew it was going to be on the agenda this week? No? Nobody? Okay. Well,
If you're reading from the bill.
I am reading from the bill in regards to the 7 days.
The English portion of the bill.
Yes. The actual bill.
There have been changes
This was a recent.
that are in the statute that is codified. So the way I do this is I don't look at the bill. I look at the statute, which is Health and Safety Code Section 11.6.900 and following. Okay?
Okay, so can
So
we?
it's basically 11.6.900 through 11.6.904, I believe. And you will find in there that there are things that are different
Okay.
in what you're looking at, which is the publication of the bill
Right.
from when it got codified.
Okay, so you're recommending that I look at the.
It's because they make, even after the governor signs one of these bills into law, they will frequently
Amend it.
edit the language
Okay.
to make it conform to the statutory context in which it's going to appear
Okay.
in the Health and Safety Code. Because if they don't do that, they have an inconsistent language in one part of the statute from another part of the statute. So there are frequently changes between what you're reading there and what actually goes in the code.
Okay, so so you're saying that you looked at the code and that I didn't look at the code and that I'm just reading the actual bill, which the code has different changes, right? Is that correct?
Typically they're minor,
Okay,
and I think frankly, the language thing is one of those changes.
okay,
Because what they did is they whoever codifies it, they have a legislative analyst that reviews everything that gets passed, and he or she, works their magic on this to make it conform to what else is in the health, not only the Health and Safety Code, but other codes, of which there are many in the state of California, that it has to be consistent with. And so they make these little changes. Those changes are subsequently reviewed by the legislature and approved by the governor, but it's really just a matter of housekeeping. The legislative analyst says you've got to change this language to say this, but it typically does the same thing. Okay?
Okay, so,
So, no, I will definitely look up the actual verbiage in that. My only concern is that on number 9 of the policy that was included with the agenda, the service to residents occupied by the tenants, the only thing is that at least 10 days prior to termination. So that leaves that open for 5 days, 3 days. That's my concern.
No, it says at least 10 days.
At least.
At least 10 days.
prior to.
So you can't,
Okay.
you can't give less than 10 days.
Can you do me a favor, please? Can you read number 9? Just so that way I can hear it from other,
It says.
other language instead of my head.
It says, when the account is in arrears, that the service will be terminated at least 10 days prior to the termination. So you can give them 15 days notice, you can give them 20 days notice, but you cannot give them 5 days notice.
Okay. So
Okay.
I need to get this going. So, any other questions? If not, so we can,
One more.
okay, I'm sorry.
Item number 10, reporting. So is it reporting from here forward, or is it reporting per the law? Has the city of Parlier reported any water shutoffs per the AB 998 as of the January 2020 or February 1st, 2020 to the State Water Resource Control Board?
No.
Clearly, they have not reported that on the website. I don't know whether it's been reported to the State Water Resources Control Board.
No.
Since it's not reported on the website, I doubt it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So then the thing of the matter that the only item that's not, or the policy that's been, and Parlier's been abiding by it, which I know somebody that was not.
There are two failures here. Okay, number one, there's a failure to translate it into a different language. whatever
Which
you
will
wanna
correct that.
call those language. Post it to the website and report the ones that you actually shut off. All you report is,
Shut off.
I did 2 this month, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So what we're going to tell the staff that deals with this is that they need to report just the number over a period of time that the water board dictates.
Right.
So we're gonna contact the State Water Resources Control Board. We're gonna say, do you folks have a form and a policy about the period of time over which we're required to report? And do you have a form that we can submit to you to report it on?
Okay.
They do. And I believe they require the reporting to be quarterly.
Okay.
I believe so. I read
So
that.
we will follow up, and then you, at the next meeting, you can bring that up in public comments to see where we're at with that, and just so we can move on. Thank you. So do we have a motion to approve resolution number 2023-43?
Motion.
Sabrina,
Second.
second. Diego, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5 yes. So now we move on to the.
The next
approved-
item
yeah.
is the approve operating agreements with partners from the Borden State Community Corrections Proposition 64 grant. And the operating agreement is just, with the grant, it's like we've done before in the past, is approve the operating agreement with California Health Collaborative and Breaking the Chains. The other contracts that we have with this grant is also with Civic Plus for a website upgrade. And that will be almost 100% paid through this grant. The rest of it will be paid through the opioid settlement fund. So we'll have a nice website paid through this grant.
Okay, this is why I wanted the interim finance person that's on this application that you have her listed as, the interim. I wanted her here because I wanted to ask her, what is the status of the last grant that we are, that's been in question for a while, because I know that there was like 300,000 that we have not been reimbursed. So the city always tends to, the city tends to upfront the cost and not always get reimbursed. And I contacted the state to find out what the status was. I contacted them about 2 days ago, and it still hasn't been resolved. And they are still late in submitting the invoices 6 through 11, which has not got us reimbursed. And my concern is that we're gonna go back to the problem we had when we had the former, finance director that was able to get us reimbursed the 2 million that we were not ever reimbursed, and that's why we were in a deficit. So I don't know if we should go and move on with this kind of grant for 3 million, if we're gonna go back to that and be in the hole later on in our general fund, because we're upfronting the cost every single time, but not always getting reimbursed. And from what I gather from the state departments that I contacted, we have not been fully reimbursed. And we only have until December of this year to submit, that's when it expires. We have until December of this year to submit those invoices for us to get reimbursed. Because this grant starts for 24, right? So I'm good with getting grants, but I also want to make sure we get reimbursed, because what's the point of getting this award letter that we're going to get $3 million and we don't get reimbursed? So that's my concern.
Mine was, okay, so the background, I'm reading the report. It's a 5-year loan, a 5-year grant beginning July 1 of 2023. We're already in September, and there's already a progress report period that was due in August. Have we used money already
No.
for this?
No.
Okay, so there is no reporting for the August 15th, correct?
No.
Okay, and then the one's gonna end in September. Has anything been used from July through September, July 1st through September?
No, we haven't started it
Okay.
yet.
Okay. And
And
again,
the good thing about this one is that it does not have a match. We're able to do it with no match whatsoever.
Okay, but
that's not the concern.
yeah, the concern is us not providing the proper backup to get reimbursed. That's what had happened before with other grants as well, and that's what was told to us by the previous finance director, and that's where we got those monies returned to us, and that's when Ms. Rodriguez came in and said that's what she was working on, and that's because of the grants and how they work. And yes, we have to provide the backup, but if we're not getting the backup, why are we taking so long to get backup? If you're spending the money, there should be backup already there just to start putting in the file for the report for Ms. Rodriguez to submit. Why? That's the concern.
So
That's the concern.
the backup is there. The backup has always been there for the one that she's working on. What they're having issues with is putting in the information for the match.
Because there's no income.
So
The
that's
in-kind is not
what
there.
they're putting the information in, is getting in the information in there for the match.
So
They've got it, and they're putting it in there.
why don't we wait? Can we wait to see what's the end result of this last grant? And then we wait to see whether to proceed on this one, because
that's 300,000.
And not only that, this is 3 million, this
Exactly.
grant. So I think if we just hold off on it, let's wait and see what happens with the last grant and make sure that we receive all our award
Reimbursements.
money that we're supposed to get. And if we don't, then we know that we shouldn't even try this, because then we don't have the capacity to get the information that's required for, because it's a lot of work, I know that. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of detailed information that you do need to provide, and they're very, very specific, and they can kick things back all the time. So I don't want us to take that risk and getting a grant that later on we might have a deficit again, because that's been the culture of always of Parlier. Every deficit that I am aware of, even before I was here, it was all due to grants for not getting reimbursed. And we can say we got this award, we got this grant for 2 million, we got this grant for that 3 million, 4 million, whatever it is. But it's great when you see it, but if you don't receive it, that's not good. Because now you're depleting our general fund when we only have a $5 million general fund. 3 million already goes to the PD.
Yeah.
So you only have.
Most of this grant goes to the PD.
But yeah,
Most
but
of this grant is
but then-
paying for
but
officers.
Just think of this.
Not
So-
that much is
so if
paying
you-
for anybody else
so if-
but the officers.
But just think of this: if you're going to be using the 3 million already that you use for your PD, and then you use another million, that's 4 million that's going to straight to PD, and you're not going to recover that other million or 2 million, whatever it is, because we're expected to spend 3 million already with the PD. But if you're going to utilize, let's say 2 million, let's say it's all 3 million.
No, I mean, this is a
you don't
5-year
recover-
grant.
I know,
This is
and you don't,
5-year.
but it's still, this other one was how many years?
No, I'm saying
The
that.
last one we're working on.
What I'm saying is this is a 5-year grant, but I'm saying that a lot of this goes to the PD.
I know, but this last one that we're
Pay for
working on,
officers
Sonia,
and the recreation
this last
department.
one was the same one. It was also for PD. It was also with working with the youth. But what I'm saying is, it was a 4-year grant, and we still can't recover the money that already has been spent.
Why haven't we been able to recover it?
We're still just submitting the
And you
reports,
only,
but
and you
we're
only
able-
have
we'll
until
be able to.
December.
We're gonna-
You have until December to submit that. Like I said, I contacted the state because I wanted to find out the status. Because this is why I wanted that person here, so we can ask. Because every time I ask, I don't get any answers. So I have to go directly to the state now.
Sonia, when was this grant given? That's Elma saying that we messed up in the other grant. What was the time date that we got that grant?
2020, yeah.
Okay, so the manager, the finance director we're using right now had no part on that, right?
No, she did.
Right?
She did. I have
I'm
an
sorry,
email.
what was that?
I have an email.
That our alternative.
Was she supposed to?
So-
Yeah, I know, that's why I stopped myself. Alternative, excuse me, I'm speaking. The alternative finance director we got now, did she have her hands on that grant on 2020?
No,
Okay.
no,
Second.
she did not.
Have
Okay.
the email from the state, Sonia.
Okay,
This
can
is
you
the-
bring us,
She just started on
No,
that
she did
grant
not.
in May.
excuse
of
me,
this-
point of order, I'm not done here yet. Okay, Sonia, can you provide us that information on the next meeting that our alternative grant writer, our grant finance director did not have her hands on that? And then second, this one that we're talking about right now, the 3 million, when did we get that?
It's on here.
It's on here.
July.
Okay,
That's
just,
for
We're
approval.
gonna vote
no,
on
no, I'm
today.
saying when that money came in and who's handling that grant?
There's no money that comes in. That's where you're not
it-
understanding.
She's talking about
It
the other
would
one.
be, it would be just, this one would be just, we're just starting it.
Okay, good,
So you
okay.
spend the money first and get reimbursed in the end.
All
That
that,
is,
but we're being told right now that, oh, Sonia, okay, on 2020, we already know that
Well-
our alternative finance director was not involved. Now we're starting on this one, and you're saying, Sonia, it just started, and it's becoming an issue already, and you guys have not done anything yet because we just got it, right?
That's why I feel that.
on the agenda
when we
for
do-
approval.
When we do grants like this, I feel really, really strong that we need to have a committee from even, have some of the residents in there, also with the council, and have a committee that can oversee how these funds are being used, how they're being utilized. Because, you know, at the end of the funds, at the end of the grant, you have to have all your backup. You have to have all your backup. Why are we having so much trouble with the audit? When was our audit supposed to be finished? Like when?
It's a year ago.
A year ago. A year ago, our audit was supposed to be finished. We still haven't got it. How many times have we asked? And I'm saying we because we have been asking. We want the audit to be done. How can we move forward when we don't even know how our audit looked? And yes, why have they taken so long to finish the audit? Tell me.
it's done now.
Tell me, Sonia. Why have they been taking so long?
Okay, so
Wait a minute, we're not done. Excuse me. Thank you. Why has the audit not been finished?
it's done. I just said.
Why did it take a year? Tell
We
me.
just had a lot of journal entries, a lot of,
General entries that were there, not there, incomplete?
what do you mean?
Why weren't the general entries? And what are you talking about general entries? Why?
We just had a lot of information. We had a lot of grants. We had a lot of things moved.
So what you're saying is that they were being taken care of from the person that was supposed to be doing it. So we have the alternative one right now that's working on it, fixing it, right?
She's she's working on
Okay,
it.
that was my question. Thank you.
So was she able to finish all the entries? No, because the mayor just said they couldn't finish the entries, right?
What do you mean?
When did
All
I
the
say that?
entries, all the entries for the grants,
You mean the backup?
the backup.
Okay,
to get
that's
paid.
different.
Because like she said, it's true. If you don't have the backup, the
Oh,
state
no,
is
no,
not gonna give you the
we
money
have,
back.
we have the backup for all of it. What it is gathering it and sending to the state, and then the state reviews it, and it takes a while for them to review it. They have,
No, it's
no,
not been a
they
year.
go back and forth saying, change this word to this word. They just want it specific. So
the
they-
email
they've
stated
gone
that
1 through 6. They've said they are good. Now they
There's-
want
What do
us.
we need? How many more do we need?
6 through 11. So what they said to me in the email was that
Can't shut her
the
up.
other stuff, the ones that you first submitted, that the staff submitted, it's pending review. That's what I got.
Oh, it was approved. They said it was approved.
Well, to me, they said,
we've got
but
an
that's
email
fine. I
saying
mean,
it-
that doesn't mean that it's gonna get denied. I'm just saying what they said to me. They said that it was pending review. So then the next, they said to me that from the invoices from 6 to 11 have not yet been submitted and are late, are past due.
So when were
So
those supposed to
the thing, may I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so to me, the thing is that it's not about the grant that it's not a good grant. It is. But I want to make sure that are we capable of actually providing the information that is required by the state. And even though you want to have a committee, that's not going to resolve the problem because it has nothing to do whether it's a committee there or not a committee. It has to do with the capacity of our staff being able to submit what is required and understand what needs to be submitted. A community member will not know what a grant requires. They can give their input, but let me tell you, with a grant, it's specific. You cannot use it for anything else because the first thing that you'll get is them to say, oh, well, let's use it for this. Why are you not using it for that instead of for this? I've always gotten that when I say about grants that we do receive. Well, you should focus on this area and not that. Well, that's not what that grant is for. It has to be used for what it's intended for. So if you apply for a park, then you have to use it for that park. So that's why, to me, my concern is having staff that are capable to do that because you have to know what you're doing when it comes to grants. You
and you're
can't
right.
just wing it and say, submit whatever, hopefully it gets approved. No, because they are very, very strict and they're specific on what they get. I know that.
But you're right. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
Sabrina.
No, go ahead.
You're right. You're right what you're saying. And it does has to be. But we're talking about 21, 22, when we had a finance director at that time, and we're still struggling with those.
The ones that are lacking right now?
Excuse me. Thank you. We are talking about 21 and 22, where we're going to be getting our audit. We're doing audit.
Yeah, we're not talking about the audit. I'm talking about the
it all,
grant.
it's all rolled up together because it's all our finance things. Everything that's coming in
So,
to the city.
right now,
excuse me.
no,
excuse
wait
me.
a minute.
No.
Right now, we
Point
have the
of
topic-
order, please.
topic of
You're
the
supposed to
grant.
second.
And those
They're not-
reimbursements
When
are
the
from
audit
the
will
21,
come later, and
22.
you can
Okay.
say whatever you
Janie
want.
hasn't
but
finished what
audit-
she's saying.
Excuse me. Wait.
So stick to the
Okay,
the
I
grant.
am sticking, because you said, we don't want to do this grant because how do we know if they're going to end up using it before? Are we going to be able to do this? Are we going to have the backup? Are we going to be able at the end, if I'm correct? That's what you're saying. We're doing that right now with the grant that you just finished. That's what we're saying. So it's the same thing. The other grant has to come with this grant, correct?
No.
Because the other
That's the
grant. you're-
misunderstanding.
No, it's not. It's not. You are saying, and you just said it. You just said it. You want to wait on this one because the other one that we just had, you still have what you say, 6 to 11?
Yeah, that we're due on March.
That we're due in March.
This March.
In March.
And
This
we
March.
actually
In
have.
March.
we
Yes.
already
All
have
the
them
ones from the
filled
past were done.
We have them filled out. We have them filled
Well-
out. The problem is when we had them filled out, they were sent and they needed to be certified, and the previous person that was listed there to certify, she
not certify
did
them.
not certify
And,
them.
and
She
I
was-
found, and I asked that question as well, who was the person to certify, and they also said that person that
No,
was.
that person
I have
was-
the email, Sonia.
I have
I asked
the
them to-
actual emails.
I have it
Alma.
too.
No,
I
no.
just recently
I have
asked.
the past. I can
And
show
it said
you
Rodriguez.
exactly.
I'm
Nope.
sorry, but I asked
Alma,
that specific.
I have
need to
the
give
actual
names.
I asked
emails.
the specific question because I knew that it was going to be a blaming game, and we don't want to be blaming people. Let's just get it done because this person, the last finance director, has been gone for now 6 months. What's the excuse now?
But we're talking about
Right, it was
21 and
it.
22.
Okay,
Still has
order.
Not been submitted.
Point of order. Point
It
of
still
order.
has not
Point
been
of order.
submitted.
We are talking
Sonia.
about 21 and 22. We did have a finance director at that time.
And the ones that are missing are, I have the emails. Have you contacted them?
did you give anybody that name?
Did
I
you?
know-
I did my
well,
research.
You didn't give it to me because.
Why do I have to
apparently
hand
did
it to
you-
you if you
get
can also email like I did?
Research?
You can email
Sonia,
them,
bring
but-
us your email, and
So-
Mayor will bring us her email, and we'll compare both of them. How's
Again,
that?
Point of order, Kathy. So what I'm saying is that was due in March. It's been 6 months since the last finance person has been gone.
She was left
listen,
in
Sonia,
March, Elma.
and
She left in March.
And this is the thing, it still has not been submitted. I got the
No.
email from 2 days ago, and they're still waiting for those.
Yeah, in March.
So
that's
who,
when she
who are we
got-
gonna blame now?
Yeah,
who are we gonna blame
in
now?
March,
But
that's
the
when she
thing.
got
Do
the.
you want to put your name on it, Mayor?
The person at my finance,
Well, you have the authority.
I have authority to do what? To be the finance person?
No, you have authority to sign grants, approve them, implement them. It's on
Since when, Neil? When did I ever have authority to assign?
an ordinance that was. given
It's
to you.
only after it's been approved.
Well, you guys.
When you
when did
approve an item, oh my God, people. Okay, when you
let's
approve
go
an
forward.
item,
You have the authority to sign resolutions, contracts, etc., that have been approved by the council. That's all.
But they're thinking that I could just sign off on it because I'm the mayor. I could just sign off on anything. What happens is that it comes to the council and it gets approved, and then you say, we authorize either the city manager to sign or the mayor to sign. That is it. It's not like just because I'm the mayor, I'm gonna sign away it for everything. That doesn't work that way. I still have to have the vote.
It is
for-
in our minutes. It is in the agenda. I will bring it to our next meeting and I'll show it to you.
On which one? The one that was, which one are you talking about? The last one that was approved?
She can tell you, but she can't make you understand.
No, you're not understanding. You are not understanding. That's the problem. I can't educate you guys on it. Either you educate yourself on it or you don't.
We can
I'm
tell you, but
sorry.
we can't
Okay,
make
so
you
about
understand.
the grant, I think the grant, excuse me. The grant, I think the concern is, the grant that we had, we can't complete it, the lack of backup, but are we gonna have the staff to provide make all these deadlines so we don't have that problem again? That is,
Thank
I
you.
think that is just
Thank
the
you.
question.
We have the
At
staff.
least I
We
have one that understands.
Hired new staff to be able to do that. We have the police department. The police have their own staff in place.
That's why
to
we're
do
saying, why
that.
can't we just wait, Sonia, to find out what happens with the last grant before we move forward on another grant? And then you're gonna be in the whole 3 million plus the 300,000 that we have not received.
Can we just, can we approve
Table
this?
it-
Or
table it.
approve it, but not to implement
I
until
think we
that
should,
other one is
no,
done?
I think we could table it. I think it would be better to table it and bring it back because once you approve it, it's approved.
Well, yeah, no, I would like to approve it, with the stipulation that it's not gonna be implemented until the prior
How are
one
you
is
gonna know and
closed.
to be able to monitor that?
Well, that's what we need a report from Sonia.
I make a motion on that.
Well, I vote no. I think I will do
second
the
it.
roll call, and the only reason why is I think that we shouldn't be in a hurry because there is no hurry. You know, this is a 5-year grant, and to me, is like it's wasteful. And if we're already been in a deficit before because of the grants, why are we going to be risking the city to put the city at risk in another deficit. So to me, I would say no, but since there's a motion, we'll do the motion. You guys vote the way you guys want. Oh, I'm sorry, we can't. I have to. Sorry.
There's a motion.
We have to bring it to the public. I'm sorry, you guys.
Allowed
You,
to-
whether you like it or not.
Sure.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Sorry, I have some
That-
concerns.
no.
Okay, that's okay, that's okay. Go ahead,
I
Sandra.
have some concerns. I'm sorry. I've looked at this. I started reading this. We've done some more research on this. I apologize, but so if you read all of this, and since you guys don't want to table this, if you read the report to City Council on the second page, right above Sonia Hall's signature, the evaluator is listed as standards company for $30,000, $6,000 each year for 5 years. Has anybody researched the standards company?
We use him as our evaluator for all our grants.
Have you, okay, so you've used them, you've worked with them
Yeah,
previously?
yes.
Okay, so have you researched them lately?
Yes.
You did. When did you research them, may I ask, please?
I've worked with them. I know them.
Okay,
They
you know them. So you have a personal relationship with them?
no, we've worked with them. He's right now evaluating a grant that we just finished.
And you said he. Who is that? I'm sorry.
Dr. Walkup.
Okay. So I researched Dr. Walkum. I did research the standards company in regards to the state of California's website for the Secretary of State. This business is suspended
It's not
in California.
He's not in California. He's in Oklahoma.
So then you want to allow somebody that is not in California, that is suspended with California and available in Oklahoma to monitor this grant? He's not, we didn't find any registration in Oklahoma as well. Can you provide that?
Yes.
Can somebody research that before you approve it, please?
He
if this is true,
works at the University of
I
Oklahoma.
understand that. I found all that. He's very accomplished gentleman. He has a lot of PhDs. He's very published. Let me tell you, this gentleman is published. So I am desperately asking you to please table this, do some research, make sure that there is no fraud going on, because if you approve this, you are potentially allowing fraud to happen with the city of Parlier. Janie, you're very concerned about grants and how they're used. Please go back and do some research. Please. You will find that he has a history of not providing proper backup. Please do not approve this. You are potentially perpetuating fraud. Potentially. Please go back and do your research.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
On the suspension in California, is it the individual or the company?
Has
It
to
is
be
the
a
company.
company.
It's the company?
No, you can't suspend
Yeah,
an
it
individual.
kind of, it's
Individual
the
is
company, right? That's what I'm clarifying.
And
individual is
that's
listed.
common when you've got a company that is stationed elsewhere.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
Typically will register in California when you are
doing business.
doing business
in
in California. And once you stop doing business in California as a foreign corporation, you will let that expire because you don't want to pay
Want
the
to pay
$800.
yeah, you don't want to pay those fees. Thank you.
No, my next question to that also, when did it get suspended, Sandra?
He was suspended back an active date was back 2022.
For what reason?
Yeah, you have to, I mean.
But it's
it doesn't on
2022?
the Secretary of State.
2022?
That's when he that's when he left to Oklahoma.
So,
Franchise tax board suspension?
let me see.
FTB?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Secretary of State.
This is the Secretary of State. The FTB,
They will typically indicate on the website of the Secretary of State whether it is a franchise tax board suspension. Secretary of State suspension. That means they didn't file the appropriate paperwork at the appropriate time and didn't pay the Secretary of State what is owed to the Secretary of State for that filing.
So also,
There could be hundreds of different reasons for that.
no, agreed, 100%. That's why I'm asking to have it tabled and for additional research to be done. Because we've come across other information that could potentially indicate that it's not a good fit, that this company is not a good fit to, I mean, I can put it all out here if you guys want. I don't know all of this dirt out here, but there is information out there to validate my claim that there's a potential that fraud could happen. And there's a potential that information, I mean, it's in a report, public record report, that information was not submitted. There was not proper documentation. Documentation was not filed correctly. This is all public record.
And just for clarification, I mean, I don't think we ever just go in so deep into the personnel issue, because that doesn't, that's somebody else's job. But, thank you for, clarifying that for us, because, I mean.
Or enlightening us with that information.
Because we wouldn't have known that. And I don't know to go and research a whole company for no reason, so. But thank you for that. I really do appreciate. Thank you that you have the time for that, because we don't.
We need to make time. I think that it's very important for us, especially if we're going to be in these positions, to try to at least look
Our
into
job,
it.
just to make that clear.
I had a 16-hour job before, and I did a lot of my homework back then. I retired, quit.
What about you?
There was a motion on the floor. You had to withdraw your motion, so that's what you want. But, I'm glad that Sandra brought that point, because I did it before. We got a guy that flew from Texas one time that he looked like me, I don't think he not even had that business, and we provided a huge contract to
Thank you
them.
for acknowledging that.
And also, sometimes you guys hire on a hurry. I mean, you know what happened with our previous city managers. So I'm glad that Sandra brought up the point, but at the same time, you got this, you are in agreement, you had to withdraw your motion.
And I'm glad that you were patient enough, because you wanted us to move forward on the proceeding to vote and pass this. So I'm glad that we let Sandra speak, because if we were not going to let Sandra speak, it would have been passed, because I was the only one going to say no.
Well, you don't know
So
that.
thank God.
You don't know that either.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
Well, you guys were making the motion, so that's why I say that.
Sabrina made the motion.
Ken.
Just so that you know.
For the record, I'd like to pull my motion, Dorothy. Pull my motion.
So let's just do it, start all over and just say, do we have a
No,
motion?
because it was on there. It was on the floor. So I'm pulling my motion.
Well, you
to
couldn't even
approve.
accept that motion because I hadn't even brought it to the public yet. Can I speak, Humberto, please? I don't know why I have to keep telling you to stop.
She's just withdrawing her motion, that's all.
I know, but
We're back at square one.
right, because
You can pick up from there.
Neil, I hadn't even opened it to the public, so that motion wouldn't even stand because it hadn't even brought it to the public yet. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, I mean,
But
that's
since
why
we
you
have a
held off
motion
the vote.
to table,
Yes.
second by Diego, and roll call vote, please. Sabrina and Diego second.
Are you tabling
table,
this to
yes.
October 5th?
Yes.
No. I mean, yes, I'm sorry. I was so still stuck with the no.
Yes.
So probably still be a no for me then.
Yes.
Yes.
That really hurt.
Yes.
Oh. Okay, so anybody have any comments? What number 7? Oh, we did add another one. I thought we were leaving already. Sonia and Jeff. So we are going to continue this item. So go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor and
Write it
City
down.
Council. What we have, again, briefly, we have a revision to an approved conditional use permit that was duly noticed via newspaper of general circulation, individual mailing to property owners within 300 feet of the site, and posting at City Hall and on the city's website, advertising today, September 21st, for the date of a public hearing. There was some additional information that we were trying to track down to include in our staff report for City Council. And due to various circumstances, we were not able to get that information in time to prepare the agenda item. And so the intention was that it be listed as number 7 with the request to continue, but due to some miscommunication, that didn't actually make it onto the agenda. As you're aware, the council, by a 5-0 vote, added it to this agenda with the sole purpose of hearing staff's request that you continue it to your regular meeting of October 5th.
Okay. Do I need to open it and then, or just make a motion to
You
continue?
can ask for anybody's comments, sure.
If there's anybody, let me open it and then close it and then. This public hearing is now open. Is there anybody from the public that has any comments in regards to this public hearing? Hearing none, this public hearing is now closed. And it's going to be continued for October the 5th, 2023. Do I have a motion for approval? Motion by Diego, second by Kathy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries, so we will continue this matter on October the 5th, 2023. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we can move on for public council comments. So Sonia, we'll start from Sonia, come this way.
So I think that the one thing I was talking about earlier is that we did receive word from the state that they are doing the arrears funding for water funds and wastewater. So they will go back and everybody will receive some credit on their water bill and wastewater funding for 1 year. So we'll be able to have that. And also they're also continuing some other funding sources for anybody who needs support for their water bill.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All they need to do is come into the city hall and we have Eva there who will help.
Yeah.
Who will help with the application process. They don't have to do it alone. She'll help with the process.
Thank you.
No, the other one.
It's a different fund. Just get more information from Sonia.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's the fund called for everybody?
The fund, Sonia? It's the real?
It's the same fund that we've had before, the one that, the state fund, or I forget what it's called. I know the acronyms. But the LWAP, LIWAP. Yes.
Can somebody please translate that in Spanish for the people on live stream?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You have the
DOC, but Eva can help with the application process. A lot of people don't do it because of the application process. So
then,
I have Eva here who will help with the process when we get it turned in.
Janie?
Mayor, you don't want to translate it?
You can go ahead.
You don't want to try. You run the meetings, remember?
Oh, only
okay.
pick and
Well,
choose.
Eva, would you please come and translate it in Spanish for the people?
Can we?
Please?
No, there's no public comments. This is council comments. So if you want to,
He's running the Neil.
council comments. We're following the rules. If you want to, go ahead. You can. Go
run the
ahead.
meeting.
Janie, you're next. You have nothing? Sabrina. I will too.
Thank you.
I just know that her tactic was just to get me to say it, but if she wants to, she speaks Spanish as well. She could also bring it to the public.
Thank you.
My comments. Wasn't able to make it out to the 16th of September celebration. I know that it was a good turnout. Yes, the clubs I'm part of donated some piñatas with candy. I saw on the live streams, the city events page. It was really nice. It was really nice, and I look forward to having more, even just kind of like your farmers market type thing, like something like that out there. I know Wheatley does it every Thursday. I have talked about it before. Fowler's is on Wednesday, so we'd have to pick another day. But that's
So what
something
day
we
would you
really-
like to do it? Let's do it.
I'm not sure, because if it's fall, it can't be a Friday.
That, maybe we should get a committee for that.
Yeah, we need a committee for that. But that would be awesome. But I was just glad to see a lot of people out there and enjoying that. And I look forward to trunk or treat, red ribbon, and oh, we already
did it.
approved, we approved it. Yes.
Yeah, we
Consent. You're good, Eva.
I think so. I asked if we were gonna.
The beginning of the meeting.
Yeah, she's been waiting. I'm so sorry that you've been waiting there this whole time. But just pass them around, because right now we're on council comments, because we're already about to close. But and you
Put it
know
on
what?
the website.
Give it to me. I can share it right now since it's council comments. I can share it.
So everyone, hold up the Halloween one.
And the to the camera as well. I have applications if you're interested in doing a trunk. They're up there in the front. It's going to be on Halloween. It's a Tuesday, and this is our red ribbon. This is the 22nd. You guys want to mark? Come on down. Okay, since you already did it, it's fine.
Thank you, Eva.
So, thank you for sharing that. Okay, so now you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. I was thinking out loud.
Oh, happy birthday, Sabrina.
Oh, yes, happy birthday, Sabrina. I didn't want to forget that
Can
one.
we go
But,
on to the council comments?
Also, I just want to say that I think it would be good if we get notified of events that we can attend with enough notice. This last event, which was really good, Michelle was there and Sonia, so it was Bertha and I was made at the last minute. We were informed like the night before, and the event was at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would be really good if we were going to be there to please let us know ahead of time.
Yeah, I can clarify that. I know that you did mention that to him, which
I don't know who you're talking about him, because I'm talking. Wait. I thought it was my turn.
Well, go ahead, but I'll explain that. I just wanted to
Well, you
clarify
don't need to
because.
explain anything, Mayor. I mean,
Okay.
We're all
I
just have
just
the right
wanted
to
to
talk,
clarify
right?
it for him because it seems like you
Oh
weren't
my gosh.
notified in time.
Right.
But there's a reason for it. That's what I was.
Okay,
just trying to
Janie,
say.
go ahead. Point of order.
Okay. Now you made me lose my train of thought, right? But anyway, it was really a really good event. I know, Dorothy, you didn't get to make it. I feel that, I mean, like I said, I made it at the last minute. Thank God I know how to write with Sharpies, because I had to put my name in with a Sharpie because they didn't have us on the roster. It was really good to see how hard everybody works for the grapes and how they do all this. But I really think, it'd be good if we get notified enough time to move our schedules around. The event at the park, Eva, you guys did a really good job. It was really nice to see the community come out. The kids, they danced. I loved it with the kids. You know, me and kids they're my heart. But thank you so much for your hard work. I think it was mentioned, if we publicize it more, like your trick or trunks, and just bring it out to the community so we can have a big event. I know those get a lot of kids. I mean, we get a lot of families when they go out at the night for the trick or treat. Yeah. Please sign up with Eva if you want to be part of the trunk or treat. Really good event for the families. And thank you to all our sponsors that do help the city with those events. Thank you, Eva.
Go ahead. I'll just end it.
Yes, I attended the 16th of September, Chief. Thank you. Everybody that participated on it, that was beautiful. It was neat, real good. I also got to meet, Alma brought him to us because he wanted to meet the council members that were there. and his name, I believe, is Mr. De Leon. And I explained to him also that I wasn't there because we didn't know about it. And we were notified. It was like 7:45 that evening or something, and we didn't know. But two people were VIPs, and the council here, we didn't know about it, and that was sad because I would have participated also. And then the other thing was that I wanted to apologize to there's two couple that came up to us and asked us, Michelle, who was our mosquito basement representative. We said it was you, so they went to look for you. They talked to Alma, and Alma told them that we misinformed them, and that you're not in the mosquito basement board. Okay, that's just to clarify it. They came back and upset and told us that why did we lie? We didn't lie. She is our representative for the mosquito basement. Alma told them that she wasn't. Okay, I'm just clarifying that for the record, for you guys can know that. I mean, when we're out there in a function and we say like we mentioned who was our mosquito basement representative, and then the constituent comes back upset and calling us liars that we were lied to, that's not good. I just thought I'd let you guys know that. Thank you.
I'll clarify it.
I just want to say happy birthday to Sabrina. I also got a late notice, and like I've mentioned before, I do have an 8-hour job, and it's hard to change things at the last minute. But yeah, I was notified about 7:30 p.m. and the event was the next day at like 9 a.m. So yeah, I would just like to be notified, whether it's by Sonia, whoever notifies, if as soon as you get it, if you could send it out to us as well. Thank you.
So first of all, I just wanted to clarify with the gentleman that actually had this event. His name is Dr. Adalberto Perez de Leon. He's part of the USDA. He did not have our information, our contact information, to contact us, to personally invite us, because he ended up talking to the superintendent at that time, and the superintendent was the one that gave him my number, and he invited me and the council for us to attend because it was a celebration of 100th anniversary. And I told him that I could not attend because I had to go to Washington, D.C. and the Valley Voice. So I said I would forward the information to staff so that they could notify the council. So it wasn't that he did this intentionally. Nobody did it intentionally. He just did not have the information to contact the staff. He is new to the area, so he was trying to network with people to get the people to come in and attend. And the only reason why Michelle was able to get a name tag is because she RSVP'd herself. And so even if you're not there, if you're not, there's, you know how many times I get invited to things at the last minute, and if I can make it, I make it. And if I can't, I just let them know that I'm sorry, but I cannot attend, like I told him, because I did not have, I had some other plans. And he said he wished he would have gotten his approval in time, and for him to get the information of the people he wanted to be present, that he would have invited me sooner, but it didn't happen. So it was out of his hands. And I don't really think that was really nice. It was not nice of our council to question him on that at an event, because we don't want to seem like we're disappointed. Not all council, and that you're right. Thank you for clarifying that. And I don't think that that's right. That's not professional. We just have to respect the fact that he tried. He tried to invite everyone, and instead he was upset because he was like, I don't do politics. I'm just a scientist. I just want to make sure everybody comes and they have a good time. We celebrate the event, and that's it. And I said, I do apologize for that, because it was a misunderstanding. It was not that anybody did that to you intentionally. It was just that he wasn't able to forward those invitations in time. I get invites at the last minute. Believe me, this last one that I got with Sabrina attended, it was on a Sunday. And it was like, hey, Mayor, we have Ana Caballero. Can you meet with us? And I'm like, okay, let me find out. And then I contacted Sabrina. Can you work it out? And she said, let me try to figure it out. She did. It happens. It's no one's trying to intentionally not invite you or trying to not send you the invite. It's just these things do happen. So it's just, let's just be mindful of that. And let's think about the things that maybe they have a lot on their plate as well, and they're trying to get this organized. So let's respect that and just celebrate the moment instead of thinking about why I didn't get invited, why didn't I get the invite ahead of time, and it would have been nice. It doesn't happen all the time. So to me, it's like, let's not do that, because it also happened when I invited the Mexican consulate. And that's Adriana Gonzalez that came. She was also questioned why I was the one presenting the proclamation. Well, she invited only the mayors. It was a small gathering for the Mexico's independence, and she did a celebration. She invited the Jim Costa, Joaquin Arambula, some mayors from the areas that she chose. That's her event. And she invited me. She wanted to make sure I was there. That's her event. And again, was asked, well, we didn't get the invite. It's like, don't make them feel like it's like you're not welcoming them. People, they're gonna invite whoever they're gonna invite, and if it's gonna be a small gathering, it's gonna be a small gathering. It's just it is what it is. That's how this works. I mean, I don't complain if I don't get invited to certain things. I just know that only certain people will get invited, and to me, it's like, let's just be positive about it. We were invited and we're still representing Parlier. That's the positive about it, and this event that we're having, with and also the mosquito abatement. That's the other one. The reason why I told them that Michelle is not their representative, Michelle is on the board. The people that work on the mosquitoes and the scientists that figure out what's going on, because they wanted to ask her questions about COVID and the mosquitoes that carry COVID. That's what they told me. And I said, Michelle does not deal with that. If you have those concerns and those questions, the appropriate person that you need to contact, it will be the mosquito abatement. And they said, where is that at? I said, at the mosquito abatement is over there at the industrial park. That is who you contact, because they are the experts. They're the ones that are going to be able to answer your questions, not Michelle. Michelle just sits on the board to make decisions of what's being presented to her. She does not go and learn about the mosquitoes and does the studies, and that's staff, like the way we deal with our staff here. The staff brings the stuff to us, and then once they get that information, then yeah, maybe she'll be able to answer those questions once it's provided to her. But she's not even been at the board yet, and she's already being questioned again. This is the thing that I keep saying is like, why can we just not be proud that we have representation there and that you have somebody representing Parlier, and not be so negative like always? It's like, don't drag in the people into the political part, because it's politics. That's what this is, politics, and it shouldn't be there. It's just say, you know what? The person, if you have any questions, I don't know what she knows about, the mosquito abatement. She was just appointed, but if you want to talk to her next time, I'll let her know that you have some concerns. But they wanted to question the things that I know for a fact she does not know yet, because she hasn't been there yet. So how is she going to know? And she will also probably direct them to.
And that's the reason why, because
I have the floor, because I gave you I already gave you the time, so I need my time. And that's just what I wanted to say. So now I hope that it's cleared, and I hope it's explained to where you guys understand that no one's trying to do that to you intentionally. And we get invited sometimes at the last minute, and it's going to happen. If you make it, you make it. If you can't make it, you can't. There's been a lot of times that I was not able to attend when I had to work 16 hours when I was a correctional officer. So now that I'm retired, of course now I am able to attend. So I'll make the time for certain things, because there's a lot of things that I have to attend. So with that, I just want to close.
Neil, Janie wants to talk.
I already gave the floor to everybody.
Janie needs to
so
talk.
now that
We've already gone.
We're not gonna go back and forth anymore. This is the problem.
To make a clarification, that Mexican lady, Carmen, or whatever her
Okay,
name, we didn't say nothing
meeting now
to
is
her.
adjourned.
She's
Thank
lying.
you. Meeting adjourned.
No, not at all.
Small little one.